The Astros had not the most productive weekend. Friday sure as heck was fun. Couple Mancini home runs. The offense was lights out. We saw Justin Verlander do what Justin Verlander does. But on Saturday and Sunday, the bats were stale.
Yeah, 1 run in 2 games. That's gross. No other way to look at it. Not a reason to panic. But with what we know right now about Michael Brantley, which is not much outside of be skeptical about a return anytime soon, and with some of the other just question marks that they have in their lineup, specifically in center field just about every single day, because you're seemingly unwilling to put Kyle Tucker or anyone else in that spot, you have to wonder if this is something that could be a prolonged stretch of not scoring, and if this is something that could also rear its ugly head the same way that it did in last year's World Series, where all of a sudden they just offensively were not the team that we're consistently used to over the last half decade.
I thought about the thing that your friend who works in Baltimore had told you about. When Mancini's hot, he's really hot, but then he has slumps. All right, well, if Michael Brantley is out, which, by the way, James Click told Robert Ford, quote, "We hope he comes back, but with every passing day, you have to kind of take an honest look at it. There's no update," end quote. Okay, Michael Brantley out. Trey Mancini, up and down with his career. Obviously, we love what we've seen from him so far. But if they have games like this, are you concerned come playoff time, or do you think that they can rally the troops and be more consistent?
That's a good question. I mean, you're always going to have something in the back of your mind, no matter how arrogant you might be as someone who's followed this team over the last 5 years. Generally, assuming that they will figure it out is the correct way to go.
Well, that's my problem, is I always think they're going to figure it out. But I've never lived here when the Astros are bad.
And at the same time, at some point, that's maybe not going to be well-founded. I do think that, just the fact that they've been to 5 straight ALCS speaks volumes about how good they've been. But at the same time, too, I mean, you have seen stretches in some of the World Series appearances, the last 2 specifically, where the offense has just been not good enough. And, yeah, look, it's 2 losses to the Guardians. Who cares in the grand scheme of things?
And the Guardians were bringing their best, because the Guardians are in a very, very tight AL Central.
The Yankees are playing way worse than you right now. Like, the Yankees have lost 5 in a row, and I don't know what's going on there. And also, I wouldn't say they should press the panic button either, but it does feel like all of a sudden the American League's top 2 teams aren't quite as dominant as they used to be, where the National League, there's a couple of teams right now, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Cardinals, the Phillies, they're all on a roll right now.
4th rehab start, 3rd with the Space Cowboys for Lance McCullers Jr. As we turn to pitching. He caught up with none other than, shocker, Mark Berman about where he's at in his rehab, how he feels, and what he's wanting.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, everyone, this has been great to me. I mean, I can't say enough about, the Sugarland Space Cowboys and the staff that they have here. And we have great guys in our AAA, organization, and the coaching staff is amazing. And it just, if I feel like I'm healthy, I want to get back, and I want to pitch with the Astros.
He's honest, right? He doesn't want to do another rehab start. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. We've talked about the Astros have luxury at the pitching position, especially since they brought in Will Smith. I know he's a reliever, but they're adding more weapons to the arsenal. I don't want to say they don't need Lance McCullers Jr. right now, but they're in a really good position with pitching. Why not make sure he's really healthy before he comes back?
Yeah, that's probably what they'll do. I don't know that we can make too many judgments off of what happened in Sugarland, but he did, get touched up. It's always really strange to me determining a pitcher during a rehab stint, whether or not he's on the right track. It's sort of the same thing that you see in spring training too, because they have different goals than getting outs or eliminating the possibility of runs. They're working on specific things, and since it's a game that to them is not important, they can kind of screw around a little bit, if you will. I will say, though, every time I hear Lance McCullers talk about the injury, I just don't want to hear him talk about the injury, because there's always this cheeky little twinkle in his eye, and it's nothing against him. Like, it's not his fault. He's being asked the question, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't really know." I mean, it's just been this for almost a year now, and yeah, it's frustrating because it's been this long, and I feel like any time that we get like a bit of information, it just makes me feel more confused.